Hello everyone, what's up? It's me again, Youngmonster3, and what do you know, it's finally time for a new update video. And this is going to be a pretty large one at that. This is probably going to be the last one for this year, and yeah, it's been a while since I made an update video, and yeah, I'm just been waiting too long for some of these videos, but that's just how it goes sometimes. But like usual, I'm going to start with the VHS tapes, and then I'm going to continue with the DVDs, and then finally the Blu-rays. And as for the DVDs, I'm going to try to show you all of the non-horror titles first, and then the horror titles, and then, well, obviously the rest of the Blu-rays are probably going to be in like a random order, but yeah, whatever. That's how it goes sometimes, or like that's how I do my update videos in general. So yeah, but anyway, for this update video, there's only one VHS tape. And I know it's weird because it only says dinosaurs right here on the front cover, but this is actually the film called Adventures in Dinosaur City, I believe it's called. And I believe this was actually released before, like, this was like 92 or something, or maybe 91. So this was actually before the whole craze after, like, Jurassic Park. So, and I mean, this film is not very good in general, but I mean, it's fun for what it is. It's stupid, entertaining fun. And also another reason why I picked this one up was because I think this is one of those films that have never been released on DVD or Blu-ray as of what I've known, or like what I know of. So yeah, anyway, dinosaurs in or like Adventure Dinosaur City, yeah, whatever. So yeah, there you go. And then we're gonna continue with the dinosaur theme of this update video. I ended up buying all of these like as a bunch type of deal because you don't usually see these for sale like in a package or whatever. So I decided to pick up these. So and the first one I already had before, but I don't think I had any of the other ones. But Land Before Time, original one, great film, great classic. And then the second one, I think the only one which was like, I think the rest were straight to video. All of the rest of the sequels. So, and then we have the sequel, Land Before Time 2, The Great Valley Adventure, and then part 3, which is called Land Before Time 3, The Time of Great Giving, apparently right there. And then we have number 4, which is Journey Through the Mists. It's terrible to pronounce that. And then we have the following two are also films that I mean, if you don't count the original one, these two are like the ones that I kind of grew up with. Don't ask me why it was part 5 and 6, but however, part 5 is The Mysterious Island. And then we have this one I really remember the most, because I think this is the one that I rewatched for the most. I mean, among the sequels, but The Secret of Saurus Rock, which is part 6. And then part 7 is the Stone of Cold Fire. And then was that part 6? No, that was part 7. Part 8, The Big Freeze. And then we have Journey to Big Water, number 9. And number 10, like the number 10 of the series, The Great Migration. And then we have 11, Invasion of the Tynosauruses, apparently. Then number 12, The Great Day of the Flyers. Damn, that looked cracked. Need to replace that one. And then 13, The Wisdom of Friends. Apparently there's a part 14 as well, so I will see if I can get all of that one as well. But I mean, as I've known, or like what I've read, apparently these films seems to be really go downhill in quality like the longer into the series they went, because most of them were like I said before, really straight to video. The reason why I picked up some of these films are because I mean I don't trust. I think I've said this before. I don't trust streaming, and I just assume they're probably going to be lost to time. No pun intended. Oh, that was a terrible joke, but yeah, whatever. You get what I mean. So yeah, let's continue with the next stack with the non-horror titles. First one is the film called Gorillas in the Mist, which is based on true events. Now, for some weird reason, this is like a rarity in Sweden. At least this is a particular release, but I was lucky to find it for a really good price. And yeah, it's such a sad story, but really, I mean, really an amazing film, which I don't really hear a lot of people talk about in general. So yeah. Then we have Wallace and Gromit triple feature. This is with Those three. The one with the penguin, the one when they're like in the spacecraft or whatever, and then with the all the sheeps. So I don't remember what the titles are in English because it only has the English titles on there. So yeah. And we have some weird adventure family type film released by Full Moon, so you never know what you're gonna get into when it comes to those people. So, but this is the film called Teenage Space Vampires. Teenage Space Vampires. That sounds really strange, but that's the main reason why I picked it up. So yeah, there you go. Then we have a film called Blood Money, and I believe I probably have at least like 2 other titles with the exact same title right now. But this one has James Brolin, Billy Drago, and Tracy Lords in it. I only heard bad things about this one, but then again, I picked it up because it has that replay. It's like that replay release or whatever, so that's the reason why I picked that one up. One of the main reasons, I should say. I mean, because I still really like all those 3 actors, so yeah. Then we have a film called Greedy with Kirk Douglas and Michael J. Fox and Nancy Travis in it. Right there, some funny comedy from the 90s, mid-90s, I believe, 90, and of course it doesn't say. I believe it's, yeah, there we go, 94, according to the back of that DVD. Then we have a film, some sort of like post-apocalyptic film called Sisterhood, some 80s post-apocalyptic film. I might already have this film in my collection. For some weird reason, it wasn't added. Maybe I already have it, but yeah, whatever. That's how it goes sometimes. Then we have a film, oh my god, with Ron Jeremy and Lemmy as well. And it's the film called, what does it even say there? Charlie's Death Wish, right there. Yeah, it looks really strange. So yeah, some sort of low budget action film. So yeah. Then we have a film called Tornado, and I kind of knew from the get-go this was going to be like a bootleg because I don't think this was ever released on DVD or Blu-ray. But this is some sort of like Mad Max ripoff, at least according to according to the front. Maybe that, or no, wait a minute, this maybe like a Rambo ripoff. That's what I want to say. What did I say? Did I say Mad Max ripoff? Yeah, I meant Rambo ripoff. That's what I want to say. So yeah, there we have it. Tornado. Then we have a film called .com for Murder by Nico Mastorakis. He's kind of like a hit or miss director for me. Some of his films are really entertaining. Some of them are just really, really boring. So yeah. Then we have a film with Robert Patrick in it called Hong Kong 97. Yeah. We have it. Apparently, I think this is like a Czech release. I'm not sure, Czech Republic release, whatever. So yeah, never had those before. That's probably the first one I have in my collection, to be honest. I'm not really sure if you can read that, what that says, but that is some sort of other language. I think it's Czech Republican or whatever. So yeah. Then we have a film which I have seen before, which I didn't care too much for, but then again, it's an 80s film, and I felt maybe it's a film I need to rewatch. But it's the film called The Invisible Kid. There with a really weird looking pug there on the front cover. So yeah. Then we have a film called King Boxer 2, and I tried to research on this on both Letterboxd and IMDb, and it seems like there's no films called King Boxer 1. So maybe that's just a weird way to capitalize on something that didn't exist. I have no idea, but that's how it goes sometimes with some of these like Hong Kong productions. At least I think it's Hong Kong. Could be Filipino as well, but yeah, of course it doesn't. Oh, it's like a Bruce Exploitation type of film, so you know what you're getting into, like all these like Bruce Lee clones that were popular around that time. So yeah. Then we have a I've been told like a coming of age type of like 90s comedy film, you can say, maybe drama film. Film called Empire Records from the mid 90s. Remix special fan edition. I mean, that just screams 90s to me. Then we have an action film called Southern Cross, I believe there. So apparently with Malcolm McDowell, Michael Ironside, Isai Morales, and Valentina Vargas. And then we have a Jackie Chan film called Twin Dragons, which has Jackie Chan and Jackie Chan in it. Ha ha ha. That was terrible. Well, anyway, let's move on. Then we have the third one. This is the final one in the trilogy, I believe, because I don't think they ever made a part 4 after this. I remember I didn't care too much for the first one. The second one was actually pretty fun. This one I've heard really terrible things about, but I got it for dirt cheap, so that's the reason why I picked it up. But Problem Child 3. And apparently this was like a made-for-TV or like straight-to-video type deal, so yeah. Then we have a film which I have watched already, and I think this was actually pretty fun for what it is. It's sort of like a mix between Cliffhanger and Die Hard in a weird way. I mean, that's strange to say, but that's the best way I can describe it. But it's Cracker Jack right there. One thing that really cracked me up about this, why do I keep doing these stupid puns? Well, anyway, one thing that that I found really funny about this is that it says here on the back, Jack Wilde, Thomas Ian Griffith, is a psychotic cop on vacation after his wife and kids are killed. While on vacation with his brother Richard Sully, I think that's the actor's name, in the mountains, violent criminals take everyone in the mountain resort except Jack hostage. That sounds really strange. Why would you sympathize with a psychotic cop? I don't get it. Overall, it's a fun film. Then we have a double feature. This is Full Moon type thing, I believe. Yeah, Full Moon. Because one of the films is directed by Schultz Band and the other one is directed by Albert Band, which was his father. Robot Wars and Crash and Burn. Crash and Burn I've heard really good things about. Not so much Robot Wars, but yeah, whatever. Then we have some more like 90s things, mid-90s action film with Eric Roberts, Tia Carrere, I can never pronounce her name, Tony Curtis, and yeah, among others, The Immortals. Looks really entertaining, so yeah. Then we have a film with Roger Moore called Crossplot, some sort of like spy type film. Maybe want to capitalize on his whole like Bond era, maybe. Then we have a film called Network there. Now this stack is about to get really big, so I probably need to move that away. Then we have a film called Heaven's Gate, which I believe was directed by the same guy who directed The Deer Hunter. Let's see here. I'm not totally sure, but oh my god. Feature runtime 3 hours and 39 minutes. Damn, do you see that? Pretty sure I can see that very well. It's probably really a lot much glare out there, but damn, 3 hours and almost 40 minutes. That's just insane. Then let's see here. Then we have another double pack. First one being, this is the main reason why I picked it up, but this one has Deadly Reactor in it, and the other film is called Van Nuys Boulevard, I believe. Van Nuys Boulevard. Now, Deadly Reactor looks like a really fun, cheesy, like 80s action film, so that's the reason why I picked it up in the first place. Now I think we actually need to move these away because otherwise you'll probably fall over like it did last time. Let's see here. Then the next one is a film called 800 Leagues Down the Amazon, which I've been told this is probably like I think this is like a remake. I'm not really sure, but if it is, I want to get a hold of the original one as well. But I believe this is directed by Luis Loza. I'll probably butcher his name, but he's the guy who directed the first Sniper film with Tom Berenger, and I think that's a really underrated film in general, so yeah. Then we have a film called The Newton Boys. For some weird reason, I think this was based on true events or something, maybe inspired by true events, I'm not really sure, but late 90s fun, probably, action film. I used to say action film just because I saw a gun on the front cover, so don't quote me on that. Then we have some animated stuff. Barefoot Gen, or Gen, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. But this is like a double pack with Barefoot Gen and Barefoot Gen 2. I'm going more and more into these type of films in general. So, and I've only heard really good things about these two, so that's another reason why I picked it up. Then we have a film called The Terrorist. And I believe this was like... what country was this? This was like some other country, but Indian? Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, if you just look on the back right here on some of the names, maybe you can figure out what type of country that is, but I have no idea. But heard really good things about it nonetheless, though. So late 90s, like type of like war, crime, drama type film, something. So yeah. Now let's continue with the next stack. Next stack we have Final Voyage, which has Ice-T in it and Dylan Walsh. And it also has Claudia, what's her name? Claudia... Doesn't say. It also has Erika Eleniak in it, but what's that other actress name? Claude... You know who I mean, that actress right there. She's been in Maniac Cop 2 as well. So for some reason... Claudia Christian, I believe is her name, so yeah. Then we have a film called Machine Gun McCain. The main reason why I picked this one up was because it's that retro label which I'm collecting, so that's a main reason why I picked it up. But heard some really good things about this one though. This is like a US-Italian co-production, so yeah. Then we have more dinosaur-related stuff. This one has Lorenzo Lamas in it. The latest Lorenzo Lamas film that I watched, which also had dinosaurs in it, turned out to be really bad. Really crossing my fingers on this one that this is going to be better. But this is called Raptor Island, and I had no idea before I bought this, but this is like a real old Anchor Bay release, so that's really cool. Then we have some more animated stuff. This is the film called Locke the Superman, right there. So yeah, it looks really cool. Then this one I picked up because this looks absolutely insane and really hilarious. I mean, the guy who sold this to me, who I've been like buying stuff from every now and then, he told me that this was like a really funny, so bad it's good type of like double feature. So Supersonic Man, and this one also comes with The War of the Robots, which is some sort of like Star Wars rip-off type thing. Both of these look really, really entertaining. And apparently this one also has, or like one of these films also have Cameron Mitchell right there in it, so yeah. Then we have a film called Indian Summer. There, some sort of feel-good film probably. 2 thumbs up, Siskel and Ebert, so that's really cool to see that. Then we have The Man in the Moon. For some weird reason I keep thinking of that song, Flying Me to the Moon. I don't really remember. Was that Frank Sinatra? Or is that someone else? Sorry if I say that's completely wrong, but yeah, whatever. So the next film is the film called The Brady Bunch, the movie. I've never seen this series before, so maybe this is just something that, I mean, maybe it's like hardcore fans of the series is going to say that this is really, really bad. I have no idea. I'm just going into this completely blind, and just judging it for myself. So yeah, The Brady Bunch movie. Then we have a film, apparently I think this was like based on true events. Maybe not based on true events, maybe inspired. I have no idea. Don't quote me on this, but this is the film called Andre, about some sort of like seal that befriends this young girl, some sort of family film. Could be cool. Then we have this film, which I've been wanting to get for quite some time, and apparently I think this is like long gone out of print, and this is like in one of those other like 80s comedies that I wanted to get hold of. And it's the film with Michael Keaton and Sarah Gordon called Mr. Mom. There. From the early 80s, I believe, 83. And then we have actually a sealed snap case. You don't really see that very often. But it's the film called With Honors. Right there, sorry for the glare. Do my best. Maybe if I close this down, maybe this looks better. With Honor, with Joe Pesci and Brendan Fraser, Patrick Dempsey, among others. So yeah. And we have another snap case of a film called Switch, with what's his name, Jimmy Smits and Joe Beth Williams right there. So yeah. Then we have a film with Drew Barrymore called Best Men. I'm not sure. I think this is some sort of like action comedy type thing. That's just what I get from the cover art, because it has guns in it. Just because it has guns on the front cover, I just assume it's like an action film. But just if you just look at Drew Barrymore, it looks more like a comedy film. But yeah, whatever. Then we have a film, another 80s film, of course, a film called Crossing Delancey, right there. Kind of a blind buy, but then again, it's an 80s film, so I had to pick it up. Then we have this film called The Cutting Edge. What happened to that disc? Okay, I need to replace that. But yeah, anyway, The Cutting Edge, yeah, 90s film. Then we have some drama film, or crime film maybe, called I'm Not Scared. I believe this is like a Spanish film? Could be Mexican as well, I'm not totally sure, but yeah. I'm Not Scared. And if I've showed you any of these films before in like the previous update video, I'm terribly sorry because I just can't keep up with these anymore. I mean, I have no idea what I've showed you or not sometimes. So yeah. But anyway, the next one is a Jean-Claude Van Damme film, and I've never seen this one before, but it looks really entertaining. And it's the film called The Replicant, right there. And then we have another Jean-Claude Van Damme film, which I actually already have seen. And this is one of those that are like, it's so funny. I mean, it's so stupid, and that makes it funny. That's what I want to say. So almost like a so bad it's good type of deal. But it's the film called The Order. And this is like one of the most misleading cover arts I've ever seen, because Jean-Claude Van Damme doesn't even wear like this type of armor thing in the film itself. So that's really weird. Then we have a film which it says is directed by Jay Andrews, but I believe this is actually directed by Jim Wynorski. Was it Jim Wynorski or Fred Olen Ray? I can't really remember, but it's a film called Lost Treasure, early 2000s adventure film. Could be fun, who knows. Then we have a Swedish film called Jag är min egen, which basically translates to I am my own, maybe. This seems to be very obscure because I've never seen like this type of release before. I mean, I never heard of the company or anything. Maybe it's like a really, really obscure film. I have no idea, but looks interesting enough. So yeah. And also that's another reason why I picked it up, because I've never seen this for sale anywhere. I mean, sometimes when I like look for films, I'm like, okay, I've seen that film floating around every now and then. I've seen that film floating around. This one I have never seen out in the wild at all. So yeah, that's another reason why I picked it up. Then we have a ninja film with Casper Van Dien in it, and it's a film called The Mask of the Ninja, which looks really interesting. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a film with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Jean-Claude Van Damme and ninjas in the same film. This seems very strange, but I mean, that's why I picked it up. Then we have a film called Gone in 2. I already had the first one, so I thought, well, I need to get all of the second one because I saw this for sale. So I thought for myself, why not? And then we have a film called Out of Line, right there, with Jennifer Beals. Michael Moriarty as well. Damn, can't pronounce his name. Then we have a 70s film, I believe. 1979, yeah. Some sort of like mobster film called The Dawn is Dead. Right there. Yeah. And then we have a film called Too Tired to Die. Right there. Some sort of drama film. And then we have a film which, for some weird reason over here, it's called Chaos, but the original title is Havoc. I have seen this one before. I thought it was decent enough, and I thought for myself, well, maybe I need to rewatch it. So yeah, it's with Reese, not Reese Witherspoon, what's it? Anne Hathaway, sorry. So yeah, damn. Let's continue then. Then we have the film called Punchline with Tom Hanks and Sally Field. Now this one I picked up because it's an 80s film. That's why. Deal with it. Then we have some sort of like comedy film from the mid 90s or early 90s, I believe, called The Nut House. Now this cover art looks really, really stupid. That's the reason why I picked it up. So yeah. Then we have a film called The In-Laws, I believe. Which has Peter Falk and Alan Arkin in it, right there. And for some weird reason, you know, The In-Laws, this is actually the Swedish release of the film. On the front cover right here, it actually says, don't shoot at the dentist. That's the Swedish title, basically. That's how they translate The In-Laws. That's really strange, but I mean, that's what they did back in the day, so yeah. Then we have the sequel to the film, which I thought was really entertaining, and it's the film called FX2. Heard this is not as good as the first one, but I mean, I'm still gonna give it a watch. And that's a film that I've been trying to get hold of for quite some time as well. So yeah. Now this one probably should have been in the horror category or whatever, but ended up in this one for some weird reason. But the Bear Wench Project. Jim Wynorski's Sleaze, probably because it also has Jules Strain in it, so you know for certainty it's going to be Sleaze. I've heard some terrible things about this film, don't get me wrong, but I mean, this seems like one of those films that could be so stupid that it actually turns out to be somewhat entertaining, so yeah. Then we have a bunch of snapcases again. The first one being Alien Chaser. Apparently this is like known as something else. This is like Project Shadow Shades, I believe, was like those films, like this film series. I believe this originally, this is like part 3 or part 2. I'm not really sure, maybe part 4. But I think what I've heard, these are like pretty much like standalone type of films, so I'm glad for that. But this one has Frank Zagarino in it, and I believe he's in every single one of these films, so yeah. Then we have the film called Aftershock, which I have seen before. This one has John Saxon, Russ Tamblyn, and Christopher Mitchum in it. I also believe Richard Lynch was in this one as well. I think he played one of the main bad guys as well. So that's really cool. So yeah, I wasn't even aware that this actually had a release up until I saw this for sale. So I thought for myself I need to get a hold of that because it's a pretty fun, sort of like a post-apocalyptic type of film in a way. I mean, yeah, obviously Aftershock. So there you go. Then we have the film called the Hudsucker Proxy. Right there, with Tim Robbins, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Paul Newman. Yeah. Then we have the film with Burt Reynolds and by Burt Reynolds called Sharky's Machine from the early 80s. I really like this cover art. This looks really classy in my opinion. So yeah, hand-drawn like front covers, they are really cool. Then we have the film called Protocol with Goldie Hawn right there. Another comedy film, of course. And then we have this is actually like a part of like a TV series, but for some weird reason they split these up in 3 parts. But I mean, it's still like the same. It's still like the whole series. So Todd McFarlane's Spawn, the first volume, and then Spawn 2, or like Volume 2, if you will. And then Spawn 3, Volume 3, if you get what I mean. So, yeah. So, let's see here. Then the next one is a drama film called The Swimmer with Burt Lancaster. There. Then we have a film from the early 80s with Vanity in it called Tanya's Island. I heard some of these stupid things about this one, but I mean, I thought I need to check it out myself. But I really like this front cover with like this weird ape in the background as well, and like her on the beach. So, yeah. Then we have a war film called Too Late, the Hero, with Michael Caine and Cliff Robertson and Henry Fonda in it, right there. Not sure how well you can see that. Damn, stupid glare. Then we have a double feature called with films War Gods of Babylon and War Goddess. Right there. Some sort of like sword and sandal type films, I believe. So, yeah. And then we have the film with Clark Gable, Marilyn Monroe, and Montgomery Clift called The Misfits. Right there. Classic stuff. And then we have Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams, sorry. And then we have a film with Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland called Captain Blood, 30s film. And then we have a film with Robert Mitchum called Thunder Road, right there, 50s film. And then the last 2 in this stack is 2 Western films. The first one being Buck and the Preacher with Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte, so yeah. And then the last one for this stack is going to be yet another film with Robert Mitchum in it, and this is the film called Young Billy Young, right there. So yeah. So let's continue with the westerns, shall we? The next one is a film called, of course it doesn't say because it's a German release and it doesn't have the original title, but Bastardo or something maybe is the German release. So if you type that in like Letterboxd or like IMDb, maybe it shows up. But it's a Western film with Anthony Stephan in it, so that's the reason why I picked it up. Then we have a film called Adios Gringo. Right there, it's another Western film. And then the next Western film in this update video is going to be a film. I think this was one of the very last films that Steve McQueen appeared in, and it's the film called Tom Horn, which I've been told is based in true events. If that's true or not, I'm not sure. Then we have a Japanese film by Takeshi Kitano called Takeshi's. Probably butchered the title, but yeah, whatever. Then we have a double pack with the film Heart and Kindergarten Ninja. Now, Kindergarten Ninja was the main reason why I picked this one up, to be fair. But yeah, because it looks really stupid and really hilarious, so yeah. Then we have a film with Pauly Shore. I've heard some really terrible things about some of his films, but yeah, whatever. I ended up picking this one up anyway. And it's the film called Biodome from the mid-90s, I believe. And then we have a film which I've heard really good things about by one of my friends, and that's the reason why I picked it up. And it's the film called Blue Collar, right there with Richard Pryor and Harvey Keitel and Japeth Kotto. Yeah. And then we have the film called Hero with Dustin Hoffman, Gina Davis, and Andy Garcia. A sort of comedy film. And we continue with yet another comedy film from the 90s, and it's the film called Jimmy Hollywood with Joe Pesci and Christian Slater. Yeah. And then we have some crime film called Guns, Drugs, and Dirty Money. Apparently a really obscure one, what I've been told at least. So yeah, we'll see if this is anything to have. Maybe it's really stupid, really bad. I have no idea about that one. Then we have yet another 90s. It's like a 90s crime drama thriller type film, I believe, and it's the film called Normal Life with Luke Perry and Ashley Judd in it, right there. And then we have a film called Father's Day, which has Robin Williams and Billy Crystal in it, right there. And then we have a film, I think this is also by Takeshi, yeah, it's also by Takeshi Kitano, and it's the film called Dolls. So yeah, drama film. And then we have both of these films I decided to pick up because I'm sort of fan of this like genre, like early 90s schlocky like action films like this. So American Kickboxer 1 and of course American Kickboxer 2. And I've actually heard better things about the sequel than the first one, but if you haven't seen any of those films, please let me know in the comments which one is the better. Then we have this one, which I have seen before, but it was ages ago and I can't remember anything about it, but I do remember I thought it was pretty darn good. And it's Clint Eastwood's film called Mystic River. Right there, so yeah. And then we have the film called Murder by Numbers, yet another 90s thriller, I believe. Maybe early 2000s, sorry. Let's see, does it even say? I think it might be 2002, but I'm not totally sure. But yeah, it looks more like a 90s thriller to me. But yeah, Murder by Numbers. And then we have a film called Consenting Adults. Right there, so yeah. And then we have a film with Julianne Moore called Safe. Right there from the mid-90s, I believe. Can be told wrong. Yeah, 95, so yeah. And then we have some box sets before we continue with the horror titles. First up, Star Trek The Next Generation Season 1. You're going to see a pattern here. So Season 2. Let's see here. Season 3. Season 4. Season 5. Season 6. And finally, Season 7. So yeah, that's the entire Star Trek The Next Generation on DVD. Then we have this one. This was mainly to complete this series, and it's The Adventures of Merlin Series 5. I already had the previous ones. For some weird reason, I stopped watching at series, or like season 3, because I felt it became too, not too childish, but I thought that the comedy was way much more forced than in the earlier episodes. But yeah, I'm still gonna give these a watch and complete the series eventually to watch every single episode of those. Then we have this one. I have absolutely no idea what this is all about. It looks absolutely stupid and hilarious, and yeah, so this is the film or like series called The Battle Vixens. Just look at that. Something tells me it's somebody tells me there's probably something sleazy in those as well. Then we have Full Metal Alchemist, the collection right there. So yeah. So the next stack of films are going to be films released by or put out by Troma, and the first one is the film called Chamber of Horrors, a really old film apparently from the 40s. I just based this because it has like the Troma logo there on the back, so that's the reason why this one ended up in this section. And then we have the film called The Chosen One with Carmen Electra. This was absolutely atrocious in my opinion. I just couldn't find anything likable about this one at all. So, but that's just my personal opinion. Still glad to have it in the Troma collection, believe it or not. Then we have a film called Angel Negro, right there, another Troma. So yeah, some sort of early 2000s Spanish horror film, slasher film apparently. Then we have some crime thriller type film from the the late 80s called Dangerous Obsession, right there. And then we have a film called Sweet Prejudice, the erotic adventures of Bigfoot, I believe. This seems very, maybe I couldn't show that, maybe I should just do this. This looks absolutely retarded and stupid as hell. I can't even show you the back of this DVD because I'll get flagged. So let's let's continue. This is one which I've heard good things about. I'm not sure if this is actually true. I mean, some people have said this is a true documentary, or some people have said that it's more like a mockumentary type deal. So yeah, I have no idea who to believe really, but it's the mockumentary / documentary film called The Story of a Junkie, right there from the 80s. And then we have a film with James Gunn and Jenna Fischer in it called Lolly Love. Low budget, like drama comedy probably, so yeah. And then we have this one, which I've heard some bad things about, don't get me wrong, but I mean, just the title alone is really pretty fun. And it's the film called Rock and Roll Space Patrol Action is Go. I'm not sure if Action is Go is part of like the title or whatever, but this one apparently has a bonus sci-fi film on it called Hick Track 2, The Next Aggravation. Yeah, you never know when it comes to some of those Troma titles. Then we have a film called Coons, Night of the Bandits of the Night. Right there. So pretty much like badgers attacking people probably, so yeah. But I'm not sure if that's true or not because you can't never trust the front cover. Then we have this one, film called Zombiegeddon. Now this cast right here is what I really was surprised by. It has Brinke Stevens in it, Tom Savini, Robert Sudar, William Smith, Phyllis Rose, Joe Estevez, Conrad Brooks, and Edwin Neal in it. Now that's a really interesting cast if you ask me. Yeah, featuring Ron Jeremy, J.R. Bookwalter, Linnea Quigley, Lilith Stabbs, Julie Strain, and Lloyd Kaufman. Damn, that's a pretty darn large cast right there. Then we have a film called Macabre Pair of Shorts, which looks very weird and sleazy, and apparently this has David Boreanaz in it, and they really want you to believe this. I mean, I'm not saying they're lying, but I love the fact that they put this on the front cover. Featuring David Boreanaz before he was on Angel and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yay! He appeared in that film. And the next one is a film called Rockabilly Vampire. Picked it up basically because of the title and because it's a Troma release. I didn't see this before actually, but apparently it has another bonus film called, it says bonus, includes the chick flick Blonde Fury. I have no idea what that is all about, but yeah, we'll see eventually. Then we have this one. This one is an 80s film from, I believe it's either Indonesia or maybe Indonesia or Philippines. I'm not totally sure, but The Stabilizer, right there, mid-80s action film. And then we have a film, once again, I'm not really sure if I can show you this, but Stuck on You, right there. Some sort of like goofy like sex comedy from the early 80s. And then we have Ferocious Female Freedom Fighters right there. And I love the fact that it also says here on the front cover, see it in two ways, with a traumatized, intentionally hilarious rewritten and re-recorded dialogue, B, original, unintentionally hilarious dialogue. Yeah, that looks really fun. Then we have some sort of like biker film or like biker exploitation film, or if you want to call it that, but Savage Abduction, right there. And the last of among the Troma films are going to be this one. This is the oldest one as well, I believe. A film called Pyro, right there. So yeah. Now let's continue with the horror titles. The first one in this tag is going to be, I'm not really sure if you can really call this like a horror film, but it ended up in this list, or like in this part of the video, and it's Ichi 1, the prequel to Ichi the Killer, right here. I don't think this was directed by Takashi Miike though, but yeah, whatever. Then we have a film from, I believe this is from, okay, it's a Japanese film. For some reason I thought it was something else, but anyway, it's the film called The Booth. There. And then we have some, I mean, the next couple of horror films are going to be like Christmas-rated films. So the first one is the film called The Elf, which are some really stupid things about, but I really like this front cover and I want to judge for myself. Then we have the film called Better Watch Out. I think I have at least 2 or 3 with those titles alone, so I'm not really sure which one this one is. Maybe this is from the mid-2000s or I have no idea, but I mean, yeah, whatever. Looks interesting enough though. And then we have a film called Mercy Christmas. Right there. Then we have a film called Secret Santa. I have actually already seen another film called Secret Santa, which I thought was really, really terrible. And I really hope that this is not that one film that I ordered. But yeah, we'll see eventually though. So yeah, Secret Santa. From the creators of Texas Chainsaw 3D. Oh, I'm not sure how to feel about that. Anyway, the next one is a film called Blood Tidings. And I really like the front cover because the mask, I know there are like Christmas, like Santa Christmas masks or whatever, but they look more like monkeys. They just look really, really fast right there on the masks. So yeah. Then we have this one. This probably ended up in this section of the video because it's like another type of like biker exploitation type film. And it's the film called Hell's Bloody Devils. Right there. Yeah. Maybe I couldn't show that because there was like a symbol right there that I don't think YouTube likes very much. Then we have a film called The Unbelievable. Some sort of like creature feature monster film. And then we have Alien 3000, which is apparently like a sequel to this one. So that's the reason why I picked up this one. I believe this one also has... yeah, this is directed by Jeff Leroy, who also directed another film which is going to come up in this up to video eventually, which I really enjoy. I'm going to get to that eventually, but yeah, Alien 3000. Then we have this one, Mutant. I have no idea which of all the Mutant films this is, because I had at least 2 or 3 other films with the same title, so yeah. Then we have a early 90s film, maybe, no, late 80s film called Science Crazed, which I heard really stupid and bad things about, but I want to judge for myself. Could be so bad it's good, who knows. Then we have Kill Theory, which I have seen, but for some weird reason I don't remember anything about it. I mean, I thought it was decent for what it was, if I remember correctly, but yeah, for some weird reason I just can't remember too much about it. Then we have Night of the Living Dead 3D, which I also have heard really terrible things about. Now, I believe this one also had a sequel, which also had Jeffrey Combs in it. And Andrew Divoff, what's that called? Reanimation, Night of the Living Dead Reanimation or something, which I have in the collection, but for some weird reason I have just forgotten to show it, I believe. Then we have a film called Shadow, and this is from 2010, apparently, according to the back of this DVD. So, once again, when you only have like single word titles like Shadow, I mean, how do you expect people to find your film? Anyway, then we have a film, Mexican film called Mexico Barbaro, some sort of like anthology film apparently. So yeah, that could be interesting. Then we have this one. I've always wanted to see this one ever since I heard about it because it looks really fun and really stupid. and it's a film called Monster Brawl, right there. And then we have, well, once again, I think I need to like censor this. Anatomy of Hell, right there. Pretty sure I can see that, but yeah. And then we have a creature feature film from the 70s, which I heard some stupid things about as well, and it's a film called Bog. There, so yeah. Now the next couple of films, all of them may not necessarily be horror films, but all of them are like released by the same label or whatever. And the first one is the film by Bird-Eye Gordon, rest in peace. He passed away last year, I believe. And it's the film called War of the Colossal Beast. Right there. So yeah, this guy like just holding up a bus, people. Then we have Rock All Night. Then we have Cool and the Crazy. And then we have Runaway Daughters. Yeah. And then we have this one. This is directed by Uli Lommel. That guy, I mean, he made like 2 or 3 really like entertaining, like somewhat decent like horror films, and then it just felt like he just completely lost his touch, and when he began with all of those stupid, terrible serial killer films that he made. But this is an earlier film of his, and this I believe is from the early 80s as well, and it's the film called Brainwaves. Really like this front cover, simple but really effective in my personal opinion. So yeah, Brainwaves. And then we have a Korean film, called Tell Me Something, right here. And also I kind of collect this like Asian Vision label as well. So yeah, and this is gonna go on forever, isn't it? Now the next one is a film called Neighbor, kind of like a blind buy, but looked quite interesting for what it was. Then we have this one, which I have seen before, and it's the film called Chaos from the mid-2000s, I believe. This is pretty much like the modern-day version of Lost House on the Left. Similar in tone and similar in like the brutality. This one also has Sage Stallone in it, who was like obviously the the son of Sylvester Stallone, who unfortunately passed away quite many years ago right now. But he was also the founder of Grindhouse Releasing, which focused on releasing like really obscure and weird films that have pretty much like been like gone for quite some time. I do believe they released a really cool looking release of Cannibal Ferox back in the day, which I really enjoyed. So that's a particular release. So, but anyway, Chaos. This is good for what it is. So yeah, it's not as brutal as it turns out to be. I mean, it says the most brutal movie ever made. I don't agree with that, but it's still pretty rough. Then we have a film called Werewolf in a Women's Prison. Looks really fun. Can't show you the back because that's why. Then we have a film called Mr. Halloween with some sort of clown right there. That probably means that it's shit though. Then we have a double pack released by This Is Something Weird Video. Bloodsuckers and Bloodthirst. I do believe I already had Bloodthirst in some other like box set before, but Bloodsuckers I didn't have before, and I believe that's sort of like, I think that's a Peter Cushing film. So yeah. Then we have a film called Nutbag, which I've heard really terrible things about, but I mean it's a slasher film, so I want to give it a chance. And apparently this takes place somewhere in like Las Vegas, and most films that takes place in Las Vegas when it comes to like horror films turns out to be really bad, unless it's like something like Leprechaun in Las Vegas. That's probably one of the only ones which I've really enjoyed. Then we have some low budget stuff called is this SRS? Yeah, SRS Entertainment, like media, whatever. So you know it's going to be really low budget probably. Massage Parlor of Death. There, I believe that might be a shot on video film. It probably is, to be fair. Then we have this one. For some weird reason, this ended up in the horror section. Don't ask me why. That's just what it happens sometimes. But Voyage to the Prehistoric Planet, and I'm just really madly in love with this front cover. Yep. Then we have this one. This one I've only heard really, really bad things about. But then again, I thought for myself, I'm gonna judge for myself. But I mean, it's a film called I Spit in Your Grave, Deja Vu, which is like sort of like a sequel to the original one, which ignores like the remake and the sequels to the remake. And the one thing that really scares me off of this film for the longest time was like the runtime, because it runs for like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something, which is just insane for a film like this. Yeah, probably the editor didn't do his job very well. Now let's see here. Then the next one is a shark film called Red Water with Lou Diamond Phillips. Yeah. Then we have a horror film with Christopher Lee called Crypt of the Vampire. And then we have some more low budget stuff. This is the film called Pork Shop. I believe there's another like Pork Shop 2 and Pork Shop 3, but those films seems to be very hard to come across. I mean, it took me quite some time just to get hold of this one for a decent price, so yeah. Then we have these two. These ones I really was just so confused by, because I could have swore it was just like the same film, but apparently they weren't. And first up we have the film called Goregasm, which is from the early 90s apparently. And then we have Goregasm, which is from like 2007 or something, or 6 or something. The only difference is that this one doesn't have an E beside the G and the A. So there you go. I mean, that's just how confusing it is sometimes. So when you collect films, so yeah. Then we have the film called Cemetery Gates. Heard some decent things about that one. And then we have a film called The Lazarus Effect. Yeah. And then we have this one, which I might already had before, but it's just like a slasher film from the 80s, and it's called Final Terror from the early 80s. The reason why I picked this one up is because I believe that other release I had before might have been cut in some way. Then we have a film called Temple. This is directed by Michael Barrett. Why I say the title of the why I tell you the name of the director is because Temple is such a like common name probably in like the horror community or whatever. But yeah. Then we have a film called Blackburn right here. Yeah, pretty much like a blind buy. Got it for dirt cheap. Then we have a film called Slaughterhouse Pie Death Sisters. Who knows? Looks like some really fun, stupid, low budget stuff. So yeah. Now I feel like I really need to speed up. So yeah, take that in mind. The next one is a slasher film from the early 80s called Scream for Help. Now I believe this is like a Spanish release. But this was the only way I could get a hold of this because yeah, the other releases seems to be very, very tricky to get a hold of. So this was decent enough if I remember correctly. So yeah, Scream for Help, directed by Michael Winner, I believe. So yeah. Then we have a 90s horror film called Bone Daddy with Rutger Hauer in it. Really cool to have that one. That's another one I've been hunting for quite some time. Then we have these two. Art of the Devil. This is from, let's see what it says right here. I believe this is a film from Thailand, yeah. So Art of the Devil, and then of course Art of the Devil 2. I wasn't able to find Art of the Devil 3, so I'm gonna keep my eyes open for that one. And then we have a film called Devil's Child with Matthew Lillard and Kim Delaney right there, so yeah. Then we have a film called Sunset Vampires. Could be cool. Here. Then we have a film called Holla If I Kill You. Right there. I mean, this front cover looks very eerily similar to that other cover that I showed you before, the Nutbag, whatever it was called. And then we have a film called Sympathy. This might be more of a thriller than a straightforward horror film, but I mean, it looks like it's horror themed, so that's the reason why I ended up right here. Then we have a film called Keepsake, right here. Yeah. Then we have a film called Bloodlust Zombies. Yeah, mainly picked it up because of the title, to be honest. Then the next following two films are films by the same guy, a guy named Jeff Leroy. And the first one is the film called Hunting Season. Yeah. And now this one I have seen before, and I thought this was really fun and really entertaining. And it's the film called Creepies. Now this one also has a sequel, which is pretty damn fun as well, but in my personal opinion, not really as good as the first one. But yeah, if I ever find a sequel as well, I'm definitely trying to get all of that one. And then we have some sort of horror film called Preservation. Looks like a bootleg, I'm not really sure, but maybe it's like a really like limited, like very obscure film, I'm not really sure. Then we have a film with, once again, I think this is with Lorenzo Lamas in it, and it's the film called Deep Evil. Yep. Then we have a 4-pack of films, Crystal Force 2, Bloodbath, Demon Soul, and Evil Sister. Now, unfortunately, when this guy sold this to me, there's one disc missing, like you can see. So I only got, Evil Sister and Bloodbath, unfortunately. So I missed out on Demon Soul and Crystal Force 2, but yeah, maybe those turns out to be really bad. I'm not for sure. Then we have these 3. I'm really glad to have these box sets. First up, we have Frankenstein: The Legacy Collection, which includes, of course, the original one. And it also has Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, Ghost of Frankenstein, and House of Frankenstein. So yeah, all these. And then, of course, just because of that, I decided to pick up the ones as well with Dracula, the Legacy Collection, which includes Dracula with the Spanish language for some reason, Dracula's Daughter, Son of Dracula, and House of Dracula. And of course, just because of that, the Wolfman Legacy Collection with the Wolfman original one, Werewolf of London, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, and the She-Wolf of London. Right there, so yeah. Then the next film is a film called Delivery, which I have no idea about, but it looks like some sort of slasher film, so that's why I picked it up. And then we have a film directed by one of the guys in the Blair Witch duo. I think this is directed by, Eduardo Sanchez. And it's the film called Seventh Moon. Right there, so yeah. Now, finally, we're at the Blu-ray. So the first 2 titles right here were films that I actually got for free from one of my friends, me and my father's mutual friend, you can say. Mutual friends, I should say. And the reason why was because he had these laying around and he didn't have a Blu-ray player, so he thought, he pretty much just told me, well, you can take those with you because obviously I can't play them in like my DVD player. So first one being Erin Brockovich, which I have never seen before, but heard some good things about that one. Then we have this one, which I think I might have had before, but I think I like traded it in or something for some weird reason, but yeah, I'm not really sure why. But it's the film called Identity, right there, so yeah. Now, the next couple of 3 titles right here are going to be films released by Eureka. The first one is the film called Ganja and Hess. Now, this was the reason why I picked this one up was because this was one of those like 70s horror films, like obscure ones, and this was the only one which I had not seen on that list. So I thought for myself I need to get a hold of that one. So yeah, Ganja and Hess. And then we have a film called Message from Space. Some sort of like, I think this is directed by Kinji Fukasaku, but I believe it's also like some sort of like co-production with the US, so yeah. Then we have the film called Golgo 13. Apparently this was like some sort of film that inspired like some sort of anime series, I believe, or like manga series, so yeah. Then we have this one, which I have seen before. It only says Atomic Reporter, but I believe it's the original title was like The Revenge of the Atomic Reporter, I believe. So yeah, just the front cover looks like some like weird Freddy Krueger clone crawling out of the ground right there. Let's see here. Then we have the film called Deep Blood, released by Severin Films. I heard some really stupid things about this one, but I mean, I want to judge for myself. I really like this front cover though, so yeah. Then we have a film with Cameron Mitchell and Leo Fong in it called Revenge of the Bushido Blade. And I believe this is not like a sequel or anything like that. It's just called Revenge of this Bushido Blade. Because first I thought, well, maybe there's an original one just called the Bushido Blade. So, yeah. Then we have the remake to Mother's Day. Of course, yeah, Mother's Day. The original one being released by Troma back in the day. Heard some good things about this one, though. This is directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, who directed some of the Saw films. So, yeah. He also directed The Barons, by the way, which I think is a really underrated horror film. Then we have Devil's Candy. I'm going to do that as fast as possible to just reverse this cover so you can get rid of that 18 logo right there. So, yeah, Devil's Candy. Then we have a film released by that label, Saturn's Core. And it's the film called Deep Undead, right there. For sure, I believe it's probably like the same front cover right here. Oh, it's actually a similar, another one. Deep Undead, yeah. Then we have a Hungarian slasher film, or like detective film or whatever, called Strangled. Apparently, like inspired by some true case that took place in the 60s, I believe, in Hungary, or like in Hungary. In Hungary. Then we have Satanis, The Devil's Mass and Satan's Children. Now, The Devil's Mass, like Satanis, The Devil's Mass is actually like a documentary, which I have seen before, which I think is pretty good. Satan's Children I've not seen before, but according to the seller, this release was pretty damn tricky to get a hold of, so I thought, well, I might get that one before it gets really difficult to get a hold of. Then we have this one, which I already had before, but it's Funeral Home, which I think is a little bit of an underrated film. It's a really interesting and moody type of, maybe not moody, but really like nice atmosphere to this one. I know some people don't like this one, and I can totally understand why. But that old DVD release, which is the transfer on that was just really bad. So I'm really glad that H8 Films finally released this on Blu-ray. So yeah, Funeral Home. Then we have another H8 Films release with a film called The Holy Virgin versus the Evil Dead. Limited edition film with Donnie Yen in it. Looks absolutely bonkers, so that's the reason why I picked it up. Now this one, I didn't even expect this to be so damn big, but you can probably see here right there, it's really thick. And it's the film called Black Cat. Yeah, we're looking forward to see that one because I think I already had a sequel for some reason, so yeah. Then we have a film by Jess Franco called Downtown Heat. Right here, some sort of 90s crime thriller, maybe. Then we have an 80s feel-good type of film, I believe, called Date with an Angel. Yeah. Then we have a film called Dark Tower, which I've heard some mixed things about, but I mean, I picked it up because it's our film from the 80s, so I just can't pass on that. Then we have a film released by Visual Vengeance called Kung Fu Rascals. Yeah, really looking forward to see this one. This looks really fun, so yeah. Now, the next couple of films are released by Vinegar Syndrome, the first one being The House on Tombstone Hill. This is also known as like Dead Dudes in the House, I believe. I have seen this once before and I didn't care too much for it, but I thought to myself I need to rewatch it to give it another chance, so yeah. Then we have this like little pack right here, Spanish Bloodbath, right here, with films such as Night of the Skull, Violent Bloodbath, and The Fish with the Eyes of Gold. Some like Spanish giallo type films, I believe, so yeah. And then we have this one, which I had like in a 4-pack or 5-pack, or you even say 5-pack, 4-pack, I believe, before. But yeah, I'm really glad this finally got a Blu-ray release, and it's the film called Hell's Trap. I believe this is directed by the same guy who directed, I think it was it one of those, I completely lost track, but it's one of those other Mexican films that he released. So yeah. Then we have this one. This one was so sought after for quite some time because this one never had a DVD or Blu-ray release, but then finally Vinegar Syndrome decided to release it, and it's the film called The Ghost Dance. I have seen this one on VHS before, but with a pretty damn shitty transfer, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to see this in Blu-ray because that transfer on that one was like infamous for being really bad. Like, I mean, most of those releases are like copies that you could get a hold of. Then we have a film called Pale Blood, which I have seen before. This one also has Wings Hauser in it. I remember not caring too much for that one, but I want to rewatch that again because it's like a vampire film. Then we have the film called The Lamp, which is also known as The Outing. Now, the reason why I picked this one up, is this just the same cover art? I believe it's just the same cover art right there, yeah. The reason why I picked this one up was because apparently this has another cut of the film that wasn't included in the other release I had before, so yeah. Now, the last one for the Vinegar Syndrome release is the Forgotten Jolly Volume 4, which includes Arabella, Black Angel, the Sister of Ursula, and the Killer is Still Among Us. I think the Sister of Ursula was the only one I had before. But yeah, we're looking forward to see these. So yeah, Forgotten Jolly Volume 4. Then we have a release by Arrow, and it's J Horror Rising right here, like a limited edition one, which includes Shikoku, Isola, Multiple Personality Girl, Inugami, St. John's Wort, Carved, The Slith Mouth of Women, and Persona, and Noroi the Curse. Now, Noroi the Curse is a film that I'm really looking forward to see. I have seen Carved before. I felt that was really entertaining. Shikoku, I think I might have had in the collection before, but the other ones I have not heard about before at all. So, yeah, but really nice looking box set right here. I mean, they really did an amazing job on this one. So, yeah, J-Horror Rising. Now, finally, the last one for this update video is going to be this really large box set released by Mono Macabro, and it's the Bollywood horror collection right here. Just take a look at this. This looks really massive and really cool. And the titles in this one, I'm going to butcher the titles, by the way, just a fair warning to you. Atma, Purana Mandir, Purani Haveli, Takana, Verana, and Ban Darwasa. Damn, that's the best I can do. I could like put out all of these films from like the box set, but I feel I've already been talking for way much long time now. This is probably the longest update video I've ever made, to be honest. So it's probably gonna take quite some time before I actually make another update video. I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, next one is probably gonna be another like horror review video. I have at least 1 or 2 that have been made that I haven't uploaded yet. So that's probably gonna be the next one for the next video. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this really long update video. And yeah, Merry Christmas to you all, and see you next time. Bye bye.